Okay. I'm not sure if this is working. Oh, geez. There were already people leaving comments here. Okay, hey. So, welcome to the stream. I've never done this before, but I figured I'd spend an hour with you guys just answering questions, hanging out. A lot of people already left comments on the blog post that I left, so I'm going to start with those, and I'll answer those, and then we can go to your questions here. Alright. Hey guys. Okay, so let's start with the original questions. Mark O asked, what's the story on C-3PO having a silver leg? Honestly, I have no idea. I had never even considered that before, so if anyone else knows, leave it in the comments, we'll talk about it. Jesus Rindon asked, is it a good idea to have Vader and Darth Maul meet in Rebels, or in a comic or a book coming up? I say yes. I would like to see that. Some people, there's mixed opinions on whether or not it was a good idea to bring Darth Maul back, but they did. So as long as he is back and he's still alive, why not have Vader and Maul fight? Or team up, who knows? I'd like to see them interact together. Swango Bricks asked, what's my favorite Star Wars merchandise? I actually don't have a ton of merchandise. I collect a couple things. I mostly have, books. The favorite thing I have are these little kind of statues, figures of the concept art Darth Vader and Luke Skywalker back when he was like Luke Starkiller, and he's got this like breathing mask, and they've got the old lightsaber design. I'm a sucker for like concept art and stuff, so I really like those little statues that I have. But of the new stuff that's out, I do want that BB-8 remote control thing. I need to get my hands on one of those. I think my cat would probably knock it apart, but it'd be fun for a little while at least. Hey, Battlefront updates. Cleaner Corn and Abdullah Al Khalifa both asked if I would be a Jedi or a Sith. I'm gonna go with Jedi because every time I play a game like Fallout or Oblivion or somewhere where you can like choose your morality, or like KOTOR, every time I consider just being like the biggest jerk in the game and doing all of the worst decisions I can, and every time I can't bring myself to do it. I can't bring myself to be mean or evil to these video game characters, so I know that in real life I would just have to be a Jedi. I couldn't handle being a Sith. I'll take a break and answer some of your guys' questions, and I'll go back to the previous ones. How does that sound? Because I see you guys typing, I don't want to just leave you hanging. Let's see. What are my favorite Star Wars movies from greatest to least? That's Joe Willard. Thanks for the question, Joe. My favorite is Star Wars, the original one. That is the one that I was introduced to Star Wars with, and I watched it over and over and over, well before I even knew. I think that there was a sequel out there. This is when I was like, I don't know, 6. So Star Wars is the one that I have the most emotional connection to. So I'd go Star Wars, and then Empire Strikes Back, and Return of the Jedi, and then Revenge of the Sith, Phantom Menace, Attack of the Clones. That's my order from favorite to least favorite. Oh, Shocks Energy. I love you too. Awesome dude 454. 9 plus 10 is 19. Connor Bradley. Thoughts on Vader making an episode 7 appearance in Holocron? That's interesting. I hadn't thought about that. And I mean, there's hints that, or rumors that Hayden Christensen is going to return for episode 8. I don't know. I haven't really looked into those rumors. I try to avoid rumors and leaks and stuff like that. But I have seen that one, and I don't know if there's any validity to it, but it would be interesting, and a holocron would make sense. It's either that or a Force Ghost, I assume. I hope that they're not doing some sort of, like, resurrection of the character. But they haven't really talked about holocrons in the films at all. It's only an expanded universe in the Clone Wars and the comics. They just made a reappearance. So I don't know if they would bring holocrons into the films just because it might confuse the casual viewer, and I think that they're going to want the films to be more accessible. But sure, I mean, it would be cool to see Anakin in a Jedi holocron, or Darth Vader in a Sith holocron. I'd love to see kind of what Darth Vader was recording. Blob 180, I'm glad you're so excited. Do I play the MMO Star Wars The Old Republic? I don't. I've never played an MMO. I'm afraid that it would just suck me in and take up all my time, and I already spend so much of my time in Star Wars, so I'm not really opposed to playing it, but I just spend my time playing more games with my friends, or just the rare game by myself. I've never played Star Wars Galaxies either, X-Stretch. What do I think of the new SWR trailer? I'm actually not sure what you're talking about. I'm Star Wars... Oh, Rebels. I haven't seen that yet. I've seen stills from it, but I haven't had a chance to just watch it. I've been out of town all weekend, and I just got back. So I need to watch it, but I know that Hondo made an appearance in it, so that's kind of cool. Am I excited for Star Wars Battlefront? Ben Roberts, yes I am. I'm very excited. I'm considering building myself a new computer just to play it. My computer's like 6 or 7 years old, and I think it could handle it, but I want it to look good, you know? So I might be building myself a new computer in October. Do I think Barriss is the Inquisitor? I'm not sure. I think that would be cool. I think it makes sense, considering how we last saw her in the Clone Wars. So, yeah, I could see her being the Inquisitor, and I kind of hope that they are going to do that and go that route. But, yeah, I don't know for sure. Okay, I'm going to run back to the comment questions real fast. I'll just pop back and forth here. Tower Melon asked what my favorite music and bands and artists are. I like alternative music, stuff like Muse. Muse is my favorite band, but also kind of lighter stuff, like Jukebox the Ghost. I really like piano-driven music, in both Muse and Jukebox. They have a lot of piano in their songs, and I play piano myself. So, yeah, anything that is in that kind of vein, anything that I can play along, I really like to do that. So Muse, Jukebox the Ghost, Ben Folds is another good example. Stuff like that. Tom Murray, I liked this question. What anthology movie am I hoping for? And I actually had this thought when I was reading Lost Stars, in that there's a part where a little Rebel Strike Force is trying to take over a Star Destroyer. And I had the thought of, what if it was kind of like Star Wars meets the movie The Raid? If you guys have never seen The Raid, it's an Indonesian action movie where, like, the SWAT team has to go into a 30-story apartment building, and they have to fight their way from the bottom floor to the top floor, and the entire thing is the entire building is full of criminals who are out to get the SWAT team. So I was thinking, what if it were kind of like that, where this strike team gets onto the Star Destroyer and they immediately have to get to the self-destruct mechanism and disable that, and then they have to get to the engines and disable that. But meanwhile, like, they're basically going deck by deck and taking over an Imperial Star Destroyer. I think something like that would be really cool. Maybe they could do that for Rogue 2. Otherwise, I'm just excited to see more stories that aren't so focused around, like, the Skywalkers. I mean, I love the Jedi and I love the Skywalkers, but I really there's so much that you can do in that universe that I'm excited that the anthology films are going to be able to give us different genres within Star Wars. And I'm excited for Rogue One because it's just going to be about normal people fighting against the Empire, which is why I love the X-Wing books so much. It's not about Jedi for the most part. Corran Horn is a Jedi, but he doesn't know it until, like, book 3, and he's untrained, so it's mostly about normal people, and I like that. Owen M. and Conrado Javier asked, are there any pieces of the EU I'm glad aren't canon anymore from the old EU? Nothing really comes to mind. Like, there was nothing that's ever been made that I had thought was just so egregious and shouldn't ever exist. I'm glad Chewbacca's alive again. Although I liked Vector Prime as a book. That was a real downer, very sad. But I am glad that Chewbacca's back. So there's something. Yelkin Fire asked, how old am I? I'm 28. A lot of people say I don't look as old as I am. I'm almost 30, and I still get carded to go see R-rated movies sometimes. But yeah, I'm 28. Let's see. Someone asked if I liked it when Darth Maul came back in the Clone Wars, and we talked about this earlier, so I'll mention that. I wasn't crazy about it just because, he got cut in half. How could you survive that? And I don't want Star Wars to be like the superhero genre where people never really die. They might die, but they'll be back. And resurrecting Darth Maul was pure fan service, and it was just kind of unclear how he survived, like how he got from Naboo to this junkyard planet, and he had these spider legs, and he was insane. I thought that was weird, but I think that Darth Maul's episodes in the Clone Wars, after he got rid of the spider legs and he was just Darth Maul again, I thought that his episodes were probably the best ones. I really liked all the stuff with him taking over Death Watch and all the stuff on Mandalore. So, yeah, I guess I'm glad that he's back, but at the same time, I thought it was odd. Omicron78 asked, what do I do outside of YouTube? I am the marketing director for a manufacturing company in Georgia, where I live. I live in Atlanta. So yeah, I work in digital marketing a lot. I manage the company's website and their social media, and I've been working in video marketing and digital marketing for 7 or 8 years now, I think. So I've always kind of been working in video or working online, doing marketing of some sort for a while now. Mr. Wiggy1 asked, what is my favorite sandwich? First thing that comes to mind is my wife makes a really great grilled cheese with a lot of, there's 4 cheeses in it, and she knows this perfect way to get it grilled just right. So I'll suck up to her and I'll say my favorite sandwich is her grilled cheese. Okay, I'm gonna go back to your guys' live chat. Did I ever think Star Wars Minute would become as popular as it has. Eback the Cat asks, I don't know, I kind of hoped it would. I did think it was a good idea when I was doing it, but really it was mostly an excuse for me to to really dive into Star Wars with all the new canon stuff. I thought it would just be something fun to do as a hobby, and I hoped that people would like it, but it's been growing faster than I would have ever thought that it would. So, I had hopes, but it is going much better than I thought, and I'm doing this for you guys because I'm so grateful that everyone likes it so much, and everyone's been so supportive and nice. So, no, I didn't think it would grow this fast, and I didn't think that I would have a community that is this awesome and interested and interactive with me. Coconut Head Productions asks if I'm a fan of Lego Star Wars. Yes, I am. I am a huge fan of Lego and Star Wars, so putting them together is awesome, and the games are simple and silly, but they're fun. I mean, all of the Lego games are just fun to play. But yeah, I still have this huge tub of Legos, and when I saw the Lego movie, that thing made me cry. It felt like childhood. So yeah, I love Lego. Do I like KOTOR? Yes, I do. I love KOTOR. Unfortunately, I played it late, and I had the big twist ruined for me. But the game is still a blast. It's still incredibly well written and well done. And I really hope at some point the Lucasfilm Story Group will take all the Old Republic stuff and just kind of bring it back, because it sounds like they don't have any plans to mess with that right now. So why not just keep everything before the Phantom Menace canon, you know? I kind of hope that they do that, like recanonize Revan, recanonize the Darth Bane trilogy, recanonize Darth Plagueis for sure. But yeah, KOTOR is a big part of that Old Republic canon. Their Legends material that I think deserves to be within the new canon. Will I do a Legends General Grievous video? Yes. I have had requests for him a lot. If you haven't seen how I handle requests, I recommend going and watching that, because sometimes the same person will request the same thing over and over and over, and it's like, I want to do all of these videos, but I can only do so many in a week. I'm actually considering trying to bump it up to 5 videos in a week instead of just 3, so I can get through all these things faster. But yeah, so General Grievous, I did the canon video, and a lot of people prefer his Legends story. So, and kind of the same with Quinlan Voss, I just did his video, and people prefer his Legends counterpart. So all these people that have 2 very different stories, I do plan on telling both of them at some point. What got me started doing Star Wars Minute? Really just with all of the new movies coming out and all the new content, I wanted almost motivation for myself to stay with it. But also, every year at DragonCon, I participate in the trivia contest there. And in order to get into it, you have to take a written test. And of the 3 years that I've gone in, the test is crazy hard. So, of the 3 years that I've gone, no, I've tried 4 years. The first year I got on, the second 2 years I didn't pass the test, and this year I did, because last year I decided I was just gonna study. And this is kind of what that turned into. I was like, because the trivia in the past does every piece of Star Wars content, so not just the films, which is what I really, really knew, but all of the books, which I had read a long time ago, a lot of them, but I wanted to refresh myself, so I was basically going to study and spend a year just poring over Star Wars content, and I enjoy YouTubing, so I thought, why not turn it into a channel as well while I study and really make a hobby out of it. So that's honestly why I got started. Part of the reason, anyway, was to study for this trivia test. And then this year I go, and they announced that it's going to be only canon stuff now. The trivia contest there's no Legends stuff in it. So I read so much Legends material, and I'm happy that I did, but I just thought it was funny how much time I spent studying Legends stuff, and they're not even doing Legends anymore. So that's probably been the most angry that I've been about the change from Legends to the new canon. My favorite episode of Clone Wars, Shock's Energy, that's a good one. Off the top of my head, it's Monster, the first episode with Savage Press. I really liked Savage's character and how he was basically a good guy. Actually, I'm probably about to spoil his videos coming out soon, maybe tomorrow. But I like that he was basically a good guy, and the Night Sisters filled him with all of this dark magic and made him a monster and like made him kill his own brother. And then at the end of season 5, when Darth Sidious kills him, like all the magic leaks out and all of his strength leaves, and he basically turns into who he was beforehand. And I thought that was really tragic, and that they took this decent person and made him evil, and then as he's dying, he returns to his former self and laments to Darth Maul. Well, not even laments, he just tells Darth Maul that he was never like him. And I thought that was sad. I thought that was really powerful, and that's like one of the reasons I think that the Darth Maul episodes are just good. So I am glad that they brought Darth Maul back. My favorite Jedi, Amory Morales. Probably Obi-Wan. I thought that he was one of the best parts of the prequels. I thought that Ewan McGregor did an excellent job portraying Obi-Wan, and it's not a really exciting answer. I just think that Obi-Wan's like the classic Jedi, and you get to see him do everything. He's a Padawan, then he's a Jedi Knight, then he's a Jedi Master, and then he is a teacher again for Luke, and then he's a Force Ghost. Like, you get to see everything about him from when he was a learner to a undead teacher. So I think that's really cool. Have I seen the Ewoks movie? They're the best thing. Yes, I have seen the Ewoks movies. I actually watched them somewhat recently with some friends, just to reminisce, and I had forgotten how dark the Battle for Endor is, and how all of Sindel's family is killed in the first few minutes. But yeah, they're fun to watch. My favorite Star Wars game, I think it's gonna be Dark Forces 2 Jedi Knight. That's the one I remember playing the most when I was growing up. My friend and I played Dark Forces a lot, and then the second one, you got a lightsaber, and that was a game changer. And that was kind of like my first, I think, video game experience of really having a lightsaber, and like you would hit a stormtrooper and his arm would fly off, and that's morbid, but it was fun to do, and you got all the force powers. And yeah, the Dark Forces series is probably my favorite overall, but I mean, Battlefront might change that. We'll see. Do I like Harry Potter? Yes. I'm not as much as most people. I'm not obsessive about it like I am about Star Wars, but I enjoyed the story. I thought that the movies were awesome. I am sad to say I haven't read all the books. I read the first 4 and stopped for no real reason. I should finish them at some point. I'm going to try to catch up on all of your comments, so I fell behind here. Favorite new book from the new canon? Lost Stars, I think. I just read it this month, obviously, so it's fresh in my mind, but I thought Lost Stars was amazing. The 2 main characters were very compelling. They were fun to read about, and it was really cool kind of seeing all of these major events throughout the original trilogy, but from a more normal person's perspective, and not only that, but from an Imperial's perspective. And you got to see different reactions to these Imperial officers witnessing the destruction of Alderaan, and how some people were able to justify it as, oh, they're trying to stop the rebellion, and they're trying to stop this war and save lives by killing one planet, and it just didn't work, and it's not the Empire's fault. And they're also mad that the rebellion attacked and killed all of their friends on the Death Star. So seeing all of these different events from a new perspective was really cool, and it was just frankly, it was a great love story too. I liked the characters. I thought it was really well written, and it was just fun. I could not put it down. Prior to that, I think Dark Disciple was my favorite of the new canon. And maybe I'm just a sucker for love stories. I thought that the relationship between Quinlan and Asajj, I really liked it. And I think that also benefited from having the backstory provided in the Clone Wars, since they were based off of Clone Wars scripts. But I thought that Christy Golden did a really good job. Even I know that some people aren't crazy about the way Quinlan Vos is portrayed, but to me, I thought he was fine, and I enjoyed it. Do I like Rex or Cody better? I like Rex better, because he didn't go through with Order 66. He didn't kill any Jedi. Not that Cody... Cody had the inhibitor chip. I don't think he had much of a choice, but I'm glad that Rex was able to get himself out of that situation. Battlefront updates. Would you rather fight 100 Ewok-sized Rancors or 1 Rancor-sized Ewok? That's actually terrifying. I don't know what I'd have a better chance against. I guess the 1 Rancor-sized Ewok. I mean, Luke could take out 1 Rancor-sized Rancor, so I would think that taking down a Rancor-sized Ewok would be a little easier. I don't know if I could handle 100 Rancors, even if they were tiny. And, like, Ewok-sized is still pretty big. Will I be reading the rest of the Aftermath trilogy? Yes, I will. I am in the minority of people who actually really liked Aftermath. Maybe it was just the experience I had of, at the end, my heart was pounding, but that was partly because I was hoping, even though they might not ever do this, it seemed like they were hinting at Grand Admiral Thrawn, or a Grand Admiral Thrawn type character, and even though they didn't go that far, the thrill of reading that at the end made me really like the book. And I really liked the interludes and kind of getting all these little hints at what's to come. So I did like Aftermath. And I loved Sinjir. I thought that character was awesome. So I will be finishing the Aftermath trilogy. Even if I didn't like it, I would still read it and report on it for the channel. So honestly, any book that's coming out, I'm going to read it. Any non-canon you wish would be canon again, O&M? Yes. If I could recanonize one thing, it would be Darth Plagueis the book. I think that book is phenomenal, and I think it answers so many unanswered or ambiguous questions from, from episode 1, I would love to see that recanonized. Thoughts on Jar Jar returning as a skeleton on Jakku? I don't know why he'd wind up on Jakku, but that I wouldn't be opposed to it. Do you think we'll see Bothans die in Rogue One? I don't think so, because they haven't, at least in the publicity photos, they haven't cast any. And really it's only humans on the team, which I think is kind of odd. I wish that there were a couple aliens mixed in there. But Bothans were killed getting the plans for the second Death Star, and Rogue One is about stealing the plans for the first Death Star. So I don't think we're going to see any Bothans die, but maybe Rogue 2 will be about stealing the plans for the second Death Star, and in which case we should see many Bothans die. And I would be interested to see Bothans in the new canon, because we haven't seen that yet, and their appearance always kind of changed throughout Legends continuity. I mean, they had like a basic look, but it was always slightly altered. So I'd be very interested to see what the new canon Bothan looks like. Oh, jeez. My comments just glitched out and took me down to the bottom. Oh, there's so many. I'm trying to keep up, guys. Where was I? Oh, there we go. Ooh, what's better, the X-Wing or the A-Wing? CJ Holland. Man, I don't know. It depends on what day you ask me. Right now, I'm kind of feeling the X-Wing. I like that it's a good all-around fighter, but I've always loved the A-Wing just because it was light and fast, and I like the fast ships. But that's a tough one. They're probably my two top favorite Rebel ships. Favorite Star Wars book ever? Rory Andrews. I'm gonna go with the X-Wing series. I kind of mentioned this before, but I like seeing the common man, the not Force-sensitive people helping out and fighting the Empire. So I really love the X-Wing series, and I think Michael Stackpole is an incredible author. And I love the characters. I just love the pilots in general. I love them in A New Hope as well. I think Rebel pilots are awesome. Sammy GM, yes, that's the BSG, the Battlestar Galactica soundtrack behind me. I mentioned I play piano, and that's one of my favorite piano books, is the Battlestar Galactica soundtrack. Okay. There's so many comments here. I'm going to do this, and I'm sorry, but I'm going to skip down to the bottom so I'm like current with the conversation. If I haven't answered your question yet, just retype it, and I'll kind of reset this, and I'll try to keep up better. Would you want to see them do a trilogy? If so, what? Like Darth Bane or Revan? I would love to see a Darth Bane trilogy. I would absolutely watch an R-rated Darth Bane trilogy. I think that would be fantastic. And I'm wondering if they're ever going to do, like, a really different Star Wars story. Like, if they're going to go in R-rated territory, or if they're going to keep it PG-13 all the time. I'd be interested to see a very adult Star Wars story. Do I think any big three characters will die in Episode 7? Possibly Han. I'm leaning towards no. But if anyone were gonna go, I would guess Han, because Harrison Ford has always wanted Han Solo to die. So maybe he like agreed to do this one last Star Wars film if they agreed to kill Han. I don't. That's total speculation on my part, but if any one of them were to go, that would be my guess. Although, since he died in Legends continuity, I am fearful for Chewbacca's life. I hope they keep him around, but I feel like he would be the character to kill off just to pull at heartstrings. It's like killing Wash in Firefly, you know. So I am worried that if they were going to kill someone off, I think Chewbacca is more in danger than Han. How much money do I spend on Star Wars? It's mostly just like the books and the comics, so not an exorbitant amount. I think the comics, to stay up to date, are like $4 an issue on Comixology, and the books are like $10 on Amazon, so not anything crazy. Hey, Joel Robinson. If there was a duel between Ahsoka and Vader, who do you think would win the duel? You trying to pull me into Dash's debate? Assuming that we're gonna see that duel. Well, we know that Vader is still alive, so I don't think it's looking very good for Ahsoka. Although, so we know she's still alive. We know that she's at least not around in the original trilogy, so, you know, where is she? I'm afraid that she might not make it through Rebels, you know? If she's a part of the Rebels now, why would she not be around? Why wouldn't she be helping Luke learn the ways of the Force? And that kind of goes for Kanan as well. I don't know how they're going to wrap all that up. I don't know that they're going to kill everyone off that knows how to use the Force, but they got to figure something out, and it needs to be a satisfying ending. But yeah, I don't remember which side you were on, Joel, but I think I'm going to say that Vader would win. Joe Willard, am I a fan of the Beatles? Yes. I don't know many people who aren't. Okay, Owen says, "Okay, think we could see the death of 3PO with that scene of Luke sticking his hand on R2, with the light from a fire." That's interesting. It would make Luke sad. I don't know if he would burn 3PO. I mean, you'd think that you could fix him. I mean, he's been shot to pieces and fixed before. But that would be interesting to have like a little funeral with Luke and R2. Ooh, Joe Hughes, Rebels or Clone Wars? I prefer Rebels, actually. I liked Clone Wars, but the way it jumped around the wars and wasn't all in order, it was just not hard to keep up so much, but hard to stay invested. I would get really invested in the different arcs, but also some of the arcs I just didn't like, and you'd have to kind of stick it out for 5 episodes on something that you weren't crazy about. Who do I like more, Vader or Revan? Yeah, I like Vader. Revan is, obviously I like Revan, but his, like, after KOTOR 1, his story just got so weird. And the fact that he went from being Darth Revan to just Revan again, like he was just back and forth, and then he was like a split personality. Vader's at least more consistent. I say that, but it's like he was a Jedi, then he was a Sith, and then he like redeemed himself and again. So that isn't really a good argument, is it? But I do prefer Vader to Revan. Bosk or IG-88? I'll go with Bosk. I don't know why. I just think he looks cool. Favorite EU books? I did answer that, but I'll just say the X-Wing series again. Am I into any video games right now? I've been playing a lot of Rocket League with my friends. I'm terrible at it, but that's what I've been playing. I'm just waiting for Battlefront to come out, really. How long do you think the clones will last in Rebels? Who will die first? And speculation on how. Well, we know that clones can survive for quite a while. What was I... Oh, it was one... I've read so many Star Wars books in this past month for the canon update that they're all running together, but in Smuggler's Run, one of the shorter chapter books, we see a clone from the Clone Wars as a stormtrooper, and that takes place after A New Hope. So the clones can survive well past Rebels, but I do think that they might not all make it. Hopefully at least like one of them does, but it's kind of like what I said about Chewbacca a second ago, is that if they want to tug on some heartstrings, then you can kill off Rex and make everyone upset and sad. Gregor might be a likelier candidate just because he was only in one episode of Clone Wars. It was a good episode, and he had what looked like a heroic ending. I don't know how he survived, but since he isn't as developed as Rex or Wolf, I could see him being a likelier candidate to die. Yeah, Forklifter Matt. Most clones died off before A New Hope. Most of them. But it is possible for them to keep going. Rank all the canon novels so far. Shoot. I'm gonna... Well, I know Lost Stars is number 1. I'll probably go Dark Disciple second. I'll put Aftermath third, which I know is an unpopular opinion. The other ones, I don't know, I'll probably put A New Dawn next. And then the rest of them kind of are all at about the same level for me. I enjoyed them all, but I think they were just kind of getting their feet wet with the new canon and just taking tentative steps. I'm thinking that maybe after episode 7... we're going to get some bigger and better stories, and right now they're just kind of testing the waters and playing it a little safe. So, Heir to the Jedi and Tarkin and Lords of the Sith, while they had parts that I enjoyed and overall I liked them, they just didn't grab me the same way that Dark Disciple and Lost Stars did. Where was Rex during episode 3? Good question. I'm hoping that they answer that, but you can see the scar in his head in the Clone Wars trailers where he removed his inhibitor chip. So I'm guessing that he kind of looked into what Fives was talking about at the end of season 6, and he figured it out and got out of the army somehow. Maybe because there was that episode where he met the deserter who had married a Twi'lek. So maybe he took a page out of that guy's book and just got out of Dodge. Did Darth Vader use shampoo? Maybe before he burned all his hair off. Because, I mean, Hayden Christensen had some locks there, but once he burned it all off, I don't think there was any need for it. What sentient canon species would you be if you had the choice? It'd be cool to be a Wookiee. Just big and strong and friendly and loyal and good technician. I really like Wookiees, so I'll go with Wookiee. Favorite comics from both canons? Right now, shoot, I like all of them. The main Star Wars one is I'm liking Luke's story right now, and Han's is moving. Han and Leia, while the whole wife thing is interesting, it's just moving kind of slowly. But I'll probably say Darth Vader is my favorite canon one right now. I think that one's the most interesting, and it's introducing the most new ideas. But I've also really liked Lando and Kanan. Shoot, like I don't even know. They're all really good in my opinion. From the old continuity, man, I don't know. I'd probably go with the X-Wing series again. They fit along well, and I really liked reading about Sunterfell. So yeah, I'll stick with X-Wing. Am I looking forward to Star Wars Battlefront? Yes, most definitely. Favorite moment from the original trilogy. As a kid, the part that I always got most excited to see was the Death Star trench run. I watched that part over and over, and as I keep saying, I love the pilots. So really both Death Star attacks, the space battles, those are probably my favorite moments. Jango versus Boba, who would win? Well, we've seen Jango Fett do more in the films. We haven't really gotten to see Boba Fett's true potential in the canon. Legends Boba Fett, I think, would beat Jango, but canon Jango would probably beat Boba Fett unless we get some new story that that just gives us more Boba Fett, and we are getting some in the Darth Vader comic and the Star Wars comic. So what we've seen of him there, he's been pretty ruthless and scary. We just haven't really seen him fight a whole lot. So yeah, it's tough to say. Do I think the next trilogy will be good? I hope so. Yeah, I mean, the trailer's giving me a lot of hope. Best prequel, Revenge of the Sith. That's my favorite one. Wife wants to know what your favorite kind of pie is. Peach? That's a cobbler. Apple. My friend makes a really good apple pie. I'll go with an apple. What's my favorite non-Star Wars film? Raiders of the Lost Ark. Hands down. I love Indiana Jones. I'm obviously a huge Harrison Ford fan. I'll show you something real quick if I move the webcam. One of my prized possessions is this autographed poster of Raiders of the Lost Ark, and I got this awesome frame on it. That's one of the best things that I have in my house. I love Indiana Jones, and I love Raiders of the Lost Ark, so that's my favorite non-Star Wars film. Do I like sand? No, I hate sand. It's coarse and it gets everywhere. Alright, I'm gonna hop back over to the pre-recorded ones and just try to run through them real quick, because I promised people that I would. Oh, that's a good question, but I'll come back to it. What's my what's my earliest Star Wars memory? I'll come back to that. Least favorite thing about EU Legends. I don't know. Maybe I'll just go back to Chewbacca dying again. I think they did it just to kill someone. So that always kind of bummed me out. Even though he went out like a boss. Do I watch Star Trek or Doctor Who? I used to watch Star Trek. I've seen quite a few of the movies, but not nearly as much as I watch Star Wars. Doctor Who, I've seen a few episodes. Same thing. I am not really super into it, but I don't dislike it. Tolkien, I love. I've read Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit many times. I've read the Silmarillion. I love Middle Earth. I thought the Lord of the Rings movies were great. Wasn't crazy about the Hobbit movies, but that's okay. Do I like Game of Thrones? Yes, I love Game of Thrones. I've read all the books. I keep up with the show. I think it's amazing. Can't wait for the 6th book whenever it's going to come out. What do I think of the prequels? I'll get back to that because I know a lot of people have been asking me it. I just want to get through all these written ones. Will I ever expand my channel beyond Star Wars or create a new channel about a new topic? Was asked by Justice Repair. This channel is always going to be about Star Wars and nothing else. I don't know if I don't think I would ever make a new one. There's just no other topic like Star Wars, you know? The universe is so big that I'll never run out of things to talk about. From requests alone, I've got enough to do like 3 years worth of videos, and that's just from requests. So, like, I could probably do like a Middle Earth minute because I know a lot about Tolkien and Lord of the Rings, but I would just run out of stuff much faster. So, and beyond that, I just don't think I would have the time. And I want to focus my time on this channel and you find people. So, no, this channel is only ever going to be Star Wars. Do I hate George Lucas? No. I think if anyone calls themselves a Star Wars fan and then claims to hate George Lucas is misguided. The prequels didn't really live up the way that a lot of people were hoping. But who cares, you know? That's not a reason to hate George Lucas. I mean, without him, we wouldn't have any Star Wars at all. So I think it would be crazy to say that you hate George Lucas. And on top of that, he does so much charity work and he gives away so much of his fortune that you can't say that he's a bad guy. Hobbies outside of Star Wars, I just like film, TV, hanging out with my friends, video games, normal stuff, really, reading. But yeah, Star Wars and this channel have pretty much become my main hobby, and I love it. Would I rather fight in the Clone Wars or the Rebellion? The Rebellion. I love the Rebel Alliance, and I'll be a rebel till the day I die. Or maybe a member of the Resistance. We'll see come December. Who would I want to play Thrawn? I've seen like the photoshops of Benedict Cumberbatch. I think he'd make a great one. And can I do the Star Wars questionnaire? I think you're talking about the 30-day Star Wars challenge. And I actually am planning to do that for the 30 days leading up to The Force Awakens. I'm going to do one every day. I just thought that would be fun. So yeah, I'm going to do the Star Wars questionnaire. Okay, let's hop back over to this chat. Does George Lucas know more about Star Wars than me? I don't know. I guess it depends. I don't know how much he kept up with Legends stuff. I know that Lucasfilm and he had a hand in like approving and disapproving different things. But I don't think he took the time to read every single thing. I'm sure that there are other people out there that know more about Star Wars than George does. I don't know if I'm one of those people. Who's my favorite clone commander? Rex. My favorite clone, though, is Fives. I don't really know why. I just think that he got to do a bunch of cool stuff, and I like that he stood up for his brothers. But just every time Fives was up, man, I really just liked his nickname to begin with. I thought his call sign of Fives and his name 5555. I just thought that was fun. What Clone Wars character do I want to see in Rebels? I mean, we're getting some of the clones. Honestly, I would like to see Darth Maul pop up. I kind of want his story to end definitively, and I think Rebels would be a good place for that to happen. What is considered canon for pre-Phantom Menace? I don't think there's anything right now. They wiped everything clean, and the Old Republic was included in that. So I don't think there is any content out there right now that took place before the Phantom Menace. Which if in a few years they haven't touched that area of the timeline, I kind of hope they just say, you know what, everything before the Phantom Menace, it's canon now. Will Mortimer, I did read the Darth Maul episodes that they cut out, and he's still alive. He's still out there. So I want him, like, I basically want Darth Maul to die, but for good this time. I just think that we need a definite end to his story. Did I camp out for Force Friday? No, I couldn't because I was at Dragon Con, and I was busy. What was I doing Friday? I was dressed as a wizard with all of my friends, running around, having a blast. So, Dragon Con kind of had to beat out Star Wars for me that weekend, but at Dragon Con it was very Star Wars heavy for me. I went to Star Wars panels, I did the trivia contest, I was a panelist, but I just couldn't make it to Force Friday. Are people overreacting to some of the changes Lucas made? Some of them, yeah. I agree that the decision to make Han shoot second, I don't think that was a good decision. And apparently, according to user, watcher, viewer, Franklin Taylor, there's like a new retelling of the original trilogy out. And in that, it says that Han shot first. So I don't know that makes it canon exactly, but I think they're maybe saying that either interpretation is correct, to choose which one you like. But I think that weakens Han's character arc when he shoots second. And a change that has a major effect on the story, I have trouble with it. It's not a major change, but it makes Han more dangerous and more unpredictable when he shoots Greedo first. And when he shoots him out of self-defense, it's just like his story arc isn't as great. It isn't as dramatic. But the rest of the changes, the additional CGI and like the song in Return of the Jedi, they're unnecessary, but I can get over them because it doesn't change the story. That's how I feel about it. Thoughts on Hayden Christensen being in episode 8? I'm okay with that. I never had a problem with Hayden Christensen. Some people think he's just terrible, and I don't think that at all. So I would be fine with Hayden appearing, as long as it's like in a Force Ghost capacity or a holocron like someone asked earlier. Some people have been speculating like, oh, are they going to bring Darth Vader back to life? Please don't. that would cheapen his sacrifice at the end of Return of the Jedi. JJ Sweezy, I'm looking for your question. It's getting to be about 8. It's about the time that I'm gonna have to get off. Who would win, Ben Kenobi or Gandalf the White? That's tough. I don't know how a wizard's magic would match up with the Force. That's really interesting. I would actually have to like sit and think about it. Off the top of my head, I kind of think Gandalf would have the upper hand. I mean, he's basically like an angelic being in Middle Earth. Obi-Wan has powers, but he's not like immortal. So I kind of want to give the upper hand to Gandalf, but that would be really interesting to talk about. Did I read Lost Stars? Yes, I talked about it earlier, but I'll tell you yes, and I loved it. Okay, guys, I'm going... Oh, JJ Sweezy, there it is. Elder Scrolls? I don't really play Elder Scrolls. I've played some of Oblivion and some of Skyrim, but I don't play it religiously. Okay, so it's 8 o'clock here, and I'm going to have to get off, but first I wanted to give something away. So I have Star Wars Minute shirts now, which you can get on TeePublic. I'll show you. They look like this. So I'm going to give one of those away. I keep wanting to answer more questions, though. Have I ever seen a Tarantino film? Yes, I've seen all of them, and I love them. I'm really excited for Hateful Eight. Am I single? No, I'm married. I'm sorry. So, I'm going to give away one of these shirts, and I'm going to do it, but I'm going to give away the shirt to the first person who writes in the chat the first episode I ever did of Star Wars Minute. You can look it up on my channel. You can cheat. You don't have to know off the top of your head. But the first person to write what my first episode was about, you get a shirt. I'm glad you guys enjoyed it. Thanks for hanging out, Blob180. Santiago, I'm not answering that question. What part from the Sith Empire history do you prefer? I like the stuff with Darth Malgus, if that's what you're talking about. Matthew and Ron, sorry, I didn't mean... Yep, Johnny, you got it. Johnny Plays. Johnny Plays. It was Wilro Hood. You were the first one. You're gonna get a shirt. So that's it, guys. Thanks for hanging out. I'll probably do this again. This was fun, and you were going so fast I couldn't even keep up with all the questions. So, yeah. I'm gonna sign off, Johnny. I'll get with you, and I'll get you a shirt. And I'll find a time to do this again, guys. So, don't worry. Thanks again for watching. As always, if you're... I mean, I've assumed that you're a subscriber if you're here, but if you're not, then subscribe. You can follow me on Instagram and Twitter. That's it. Thanks for watching. May the Force be with you. And now I don't know how to turn it off. Let's see if I can figure it out.